The new Horizontal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a space technology that allows you to work with the fields of the universe, creating a wide range of plasma field interactions and conditions. It allows the body to process itself from any physical or emotional imbalance. Once this balanced condition is achieved, the soul and emotion of the man can follow to find their balance, elevating the whole of the man. The new Horizontal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, technology of the future through advanced plasma knowledge.
Inside the vertical enhancements, the new Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a plasma space technology to prepare humanity for transportation and transmutation in deep space. Essential processes are embedded to prevent mutations and psychosomatic conditions during deep space travel. This new system is designed to support upper body conditions, especially of the lungs and intestines, and can be targeted specifically for each organ. When inside the Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the body experiences balance in totality, enabling it to correct and rebalance all the fields within itself. The new Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a dimension in health and transportation never seen before. The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Embedding the essence of the new GANS plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced, energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists and healthcare centres. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here.
Okay, we are back again at the 418th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 2nd, 2022. That would be 02022022. Mr. Cash, are you ready to take some questions?
Yes. Can I see Dr. Klaus Priller on the panel? Bring him to panelists.
Don't see Klaus here.
He says he is, but just trying to see. Maybe he's on YouTube. let's see if he can join us on the Zoom. He's just writing. He says he raised his hand.
Oh, there he is. Yes, I see now. I was looking down the list and the hand went up in the meantime. Okay,
Yeah,
there
you
we
bring it
go.
up, please. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Hello. Hi, Klaus. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hi, Klaus. Hi, good morning.
Hi.
Klaus, would you like to explain about the weight gain of the system, how it came about and what it is? Because you're literally in it.
Yes, sure. No problem. I could talk about this for hours because we had this problem when we moved the unit. I wouldn't say problem because it's beautiful to see the units in working process. But we found out that a unit, one of these two units, nearly doubled its weight after some weeks when we were working with it. We found it out when we delivered the unit from one exhibition center to another one, because we moved the units there with a forklift first. And this was a very heavy one. And the forklift driver said already when he lifted it down from a platform, it was a platform around 4 meters high, and he said something is strange with the unit, because when I moved it up, I had the feeling it was much lighter, and now I'm moving it down, and I have the feeling this is much heavier, this unit, than it was some months before. But it was just a feeling from him. And I said, no, nothing happened. We didn't change anything. So it's the same. And he said, no, maybe it's my truck lift. And then we moved it into a truck and moved it to the new location. And there we had to move it up again around 6 meters. And I told them unit has around 800 kilo. Like it was 830, 850. And they said, okay, then we take the small crane. And this crane had a possibility that they see the weight of the unit. And they made everything which was which needed to be done to lift it up. And the crane driver started to lift it, and then he shouted, oh, come on, there's a red light on my in my cockpit, and it says is more than 1 ton. And I said, can't be. And he said, yeah, sorry, I can't use this crane. We have to go for a bigger crane. And he needed another day or two. They came with a bigger crane, and this crane had again a possibility to see the weight. And they lifted it up, and he said, we are already over 1.5 ton, I think it was. Yeah, over 1.5 ton. So they made their job, but they needed a heavy crane to move the unit up. And the person I was in contact with, he said to me, don't you know what your devices? Don't you know all details about your devices? You told me it's just 800 kilos, and I said, yes, sorry, because this is new to me as well. Because it has 800 kilos, and I calculated together the housing, the seat, and everything, and it was not more. I thought there was a mistake from our side. And then there was the explanation which Mr. Cash brought today as well. And then we found out, yes, this has nothing to do with the weight of the metastate material, with the weight of the seat, with the weight of the platform we additionally added, which was just 100 kilos. It was the operation of the fields. And this was, of course, opening a lot of eyes of every one of us that this happened. And yeah, this was a rough explanation about the experience of the weight.
Thank you very much. Klaus is responsible for all this, what you see in the operation, the design, and delivery of the systems from the Keshe Foundations around the world. And thank you very much, Klaus. Is there anything else you want to add?
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Now you understand how precise and how exactly we have entered the plasma space technology. It's not theoretical. It's by measurement, knowing, understanding. And in a way, we paid for 900 kilo of material shipped from China to Austria. These were weighed by international, and we paid for that weight as they measure every box prior to shipping. And this is what you understand, that you have already entered the space plasma technology. And the new units coming in have the additional touch, additional technology, which is advanced so much that it's gone inside the walls to be able to accept, command, and control by emotion and thoughts. They tell me, don't say anything, and then you go and tell it. I tell it when it's the time for it and when it's the right time for it. And now you understand, Keshe Foundation has entered creation of gravity, absorption of the gravity using non-nuclear material. 2 years, a year ago, when the systems were delivered into Linz Exhibition Center, and then moved to the new Keshe Foundation Exhibition Center. It's the beauty of knowledge, understanding it. And I wrote to John a couple of days ago. I said, John, when you receive it, I want to know how much it weighs when our team finishes the installation. He says, I have nothing to weigh. I said, find a way. You're sinking or you're swimming. And if you go back to the very first videos we showed, I think Rick can come up with it somewhere, where we show the weight reduction when we put it on the scale. We go from 9 kilo to 6 kilo, something. Now, the object has come bigger and we use a bigger scales. But for us, initially, will be these kind of tests. If you look very closely at this unit, you see underneath of it an extra blue piece. We had in the old exhibition center to secure the systems to the structure that they don't take off, or they don't pull themselves to the other position, because there were two of them, and if they created a field, they will move each other. We were expecting interaction, we were expecting fields, but now we see it in a different shape or form. My dear knowledge seekers, you have already entered the space technology. You don't need to wait for the 6th of June. It is for us to complete the technology that you can go. This is there. And thank you very much, Rick. 9.1 kilo, and then using the same technology, but
by increasing the gas number 1 to 200. The current is
further down this video, you see the same thing, reducing weight.
copper coil.
We showed in Belgium 10 years ago plus how to lose weight. We show some 10 years later in Austria how to gain weight. So we have the knowledge of both. And is not anymore smaller scale, now is a large scale. And you can see the weight, 100 gram drop, and then down to 6 kilo, 6.3 kilo, if I remember correctly, with the small changes. So we know how to take off, we know how to gain. Now we have to connect it to the emotion of the man as a captain. I'm not there to lift and put or change gases. I have to do it because the interaction is so fast that we have no computers to do it. There's additional energy on top of the matter state. When we tested it in their labs in Austria, we could see a hidden energy showing itself on the equipment. Additional fields. And we know now, and we know how. We have reached out to the Iranian government, nuclear scientists, to allow us to ship nuclear material as part of the plasma and space technology across this planet with the permission of the governments, and it takes some time for us to do it. And then we show the true power of the, what we call creating plasma through nuclear technology. I came in as a nuclear physicist, and I went in and I understood the plasma. I'm like a plasma physicist. So in a way, we know the path. And we show it in this small reactor in Tehran Sharif University built and tested in Belgium. Now we have a clear evidence on gaining weight too. So we have achieved both magnetical and gravitational in 2 different stages, in 2 different parts of the world, in 2 different scale of work. And when you look at it, we haven't attached any megawatt power stations to these systems and no what we call hidden things that anybody can do. The thing is in the open, it's in front of you, and it's the way the system works. And I think humanity is ready to meet its soul through the interaction of the fields of the enhancement unit. And in that point, man shall commit no crime. As when we raise the soul of one, the others within the structural soul of humanity will get energy from it and be elevated, that the whole of the race become a peaceful race. And truly the love of Mitra amongst us has brought that position and time and space. Any other question?
Well, we have some questions in the Q&A, and we have some hands up as well. Maybe we can start with Stefania here.
There you see the weight reduced to 7 kilo from 9.1 kilo originally, with a very, very little touches of gases, and very, very, you see, to 6.5 kilo. The minimum we could reach in this machine was 6.3 because you start lifting. We could not measure the scales. And there was no measurement we could not do because the separation would not sit on the pad. Magnetical fields had different interaction. And so the physicality was there, but the field's forces are not there. And so you get that separation, you get that, this what you can see, 6.3. When you reduce around about 30% of the weight by magnetic field interaction, we start seeing field interaction of the plasmas. It's a rough guide. Yes, Stefania.
Good evening. Not good evening. Sorry. Good afternoon. Good morning. Sorry. First of all, I want to apologize for yesterday to interrupt you. All
Don't
the
worry,
time.
we got used to you. If it doesn't happen, there is something wrong. So
just I wanted to make sure I was correct, translate correctly. And
if just wait 1 second. Wait, if you look at the digital numbers, you see we are using 1 volt, 2 volts, less than an amp, and that kind of thing. We are not talking about huge currents and voltages. And if you understood this, you understand how we managed to reach 1.29 Tesla. Very little fluxes, very little energies, but massive powers. And this shows you, teaches you that planetary systems do not have a heavy center, very, very light. You can see 6.1, from 9.1 to 6.1, 30% weight loss. And this is when the field interactions come in. And you can see it, half a volt, half an amp, 1.4, 1.6 volts. But the energy from this comes from the nuclear plasma technology. Don't be, naive about it. The power with this technology comes from this plasma nuclear technology, not from electrical current. Carry on.
yeah, this actually was one of the questions that I wanted to make yesterday, but we didn't manage to explain plasma nuclear, what is plasma nuclear technology. That one was one of the questions I wanted to make yesterday, because maybe...
Plasma nuclear technology is a plasma created through nuclear interaction. Plasma nuclear technology is at the moment exclusivity of Iran, an Iranian nuclear physicist. Because we never went in any of the works with American, with the Russians and the rest, to understand the process of achieving plasma through nuclear processes. And they call it the cold fusion, and they call it the cold plasma. It's nothing cold about it. It's a natural plasma process. It happens in our body, it happens in everyday life. Even when you look at a piece of wood standing there, it still has that process going inside it to keep the shape of the wood. If we didn't have, it collapses. The structure collapses. So anything you see which stands, which has a life, which exists, has a nuclear plasma process inside it. The minute that changes, you see, you call it the wood has rusted, rotted, and the iron has rusted, and the rest of it, to a new dimension, again with a plasma technology. We go within the structure, from nucleus into plasma, not nuclear as a bomb and energy. We call it the nuclear as a nucleus as a center. We go inside. Nuclear or nucleus or neutron, by the way you call it, depending on the shape and size and number of things in it, it's a house. And with a new knowledge, being a nuclear physicist, I just open the door of the house and we see the beauty what's in the house. And nothing else. And we can explain all of it. As Rick shows, the process in what we call the Sensano, measuring of the fields, which many of the knowledge seekers over weeks monitored it as it built up to 129. It wasn't done there via a picture. I can't remember, it took 2-3 weeks. Knowledge seekers around the world were saying, oh, it's gone up by 1 Tesla, it's gone up by 2 Tesla, oh, it's gone there. We built it up. The same as we've done in the system in Linz. We built it up. We built that up to that point. And we build it up by understanding a nuclear plasma technology, but using all of it. When you look at the setup of the reactors in the Descensano 4 years ago, 5 years ago, is a combination of the reactors of different field energies, which created a nuclear interaction plasma. And this is something nobody understood. I don't think even any of you understand at the moment what it means. By placing 12 reactors in this environment, of the lab, we created between the reactors interaction of the plasmatic fields, which led to creation of nuclear plasma, which means the energy which is within a nucleus, not the nucleus as a radioactive. Which means the 3 reactors became the boundary of the creator of the boundary of the, what we call, plasmatic field. If you understand this and look at the enhancement units, it's the same thing, it's no difference. We created a nucleus plasma. Now we gave it a shape, we can control it. It's not in an open space the way we had in the Descensano. As you do not understand fully the technology, everything looks to you like a different puzzle, different things. But essentially, the whole knowledge is the same. We just make different things with it. I'm sure when we put the space plasma detectors, we might even see 400 or 500 Tesla in some of the operation of the reactors in the enhancement unit. But it's in plasmatic, which means it's not dangerous. You call it a nuclear plasma because it's easier for you to understand, easier for us to communicate with you. But to us, it's a nucleus plasma. It's an energy within the nucleus, within the neutron, which that's what it counts. This is what matters, and that's what counts for it to be.
So it's like the Earth, no? So it's the center core. It's the nuclear, because I remember one workshop, you draw, because this connected again to the MAGRAV. When you draw the MAGRAV, no, there are three lines, one on top of the others, and then you put the man on top. I remember that one of your workshop where you draw an infinity loop horizontally, and then you draw infinity loop vertically, and then you said that plasma, I can't remember the name, but you said that it's like the Alex beam. You can create a kind of continuous energy where the middle it gets strong gravitational to keep then the, like you said, to contain the the fields, like the Earth, and that three on top of the other remind me also. I'm thinking, why, Mr. Cash, when we were doing the Mojang, we were in four, no? Three, you said one person have to be higher than the other three, but each one of us have to be a different level. So the three people, they were much lower of the fourth one, they has to be in different levels. So, and I thought, why I said that? And I thought, because that these three people, they create the MAGRAV kind of things. This is my assumption. And then I thought, why did you told us to be off the floor when we were sitting in the chair? And then when I saw this teach where you did the infinite loop vertically, I thought that was the reason you try to do the vertical one. It's got a name. I think it's got plasma. You know the name because I use. But to keep the core and then to have infinitive energy from. You said that, yeah, this is it. The three become one, and then you created a North Pole and South Pole, and it's got repetitive, endless feeding of the core. So then today you draw again the Magrav, and you put a man on top. So then I was thinking, and then you talk now about this Magrav all around the room. Sorry, I took him fast for who translator. Sorry. So I had many questions now. So one question was, so if one person put around themselves the three Magrav, I think they could replicate what we replicate in the Mojang, because in the Mojang for me was the very close that arrived to the fly. No, I really felt this. First of all, this beat. Oh, sorry, Mr. Cash, I'm talking like a train now.
Yeah, do you want to stop the train?
Yeah, exactly.
No problem. Thank you very much. The fundamental point, if you look at the Magrav, or if you look at the star formation, which we made from the beginning, has been by building the base and what we call the top, we always fill the top with hydrogen or the lightest composition. Because in a way, in an atomic matter state is the lightest, but then the strongest more of will feed it, and it create what we call field transformation and transmutation. But this is something which, again, knowledge seekers, that you're not nuclear physicists in a way, is when you have the lightest and you have the less, you have more interaction. You have more energy releases because you have more to interact with. This is where you can divide the fields, where up to now they said magnetic fields cannot be done anything with. We could double it electromagnetically by transformers, but then divide it the way we do as a plasma is another game. And we showed this one in the Chinese space reactor test clearly, how with one reactor on the top, especially loaded, we could create a flow dimension. And it's the same. Now, the soul of the man on top of the Magrav system is the same, has to be the weakest. Not the weakest, but less of, more to give than take, that attracts the fields from the plasma. This is what we call the elevation of the soul of the man. This is what we call to be humble, to give, because you're detached, nothing is holding on to that you can hold on to hold you back to behavior, to what we call gain. By giving, you become more interacting and more what we call able to give. One of the points in the world of what I call plasma physics, and I'm trying to get the white screen back. Here, if you look what Rick is showing, is the process of gaining Tesla fields in the Sensano in 2014, where you saw it gradually is going to 20 to 12, 14, and we're building up the plasma fields in Teslas. We started with more or less very small, and this number after weeks, and she reached 129 Tesla. And we stopped because there was a lot of things that it cannot be, but that's how it is. You see it gradual build up. 12 to 14, and then it goes to 16 and the rest of it. But what is, Rick, keep this going till we come back to it. Don't stop this video if you can. The position is what has not been understood fully in the world of science of the plasma or physics in respect to the magnetic fields is that how you can amalgamate fields. And then once you amalgamate them in the system, how to divide them. And does not matter to where you came from and how you connected to, how you connect to the other entities from the same field. And we know what entity connects to all the plasmatic fields of the universe. How do we do this? How this process is done is part of understanding the process of division by gravitational field forces or division by magnetical field forces. If you divide through gravitational field forces, what happens? And what happens if you divide by magnetical field forces, what happens? And how and where does this division come? And how can we create a division? But in a way, if you look at it as part of the understanding, when you interact with a magnet here, and this magnet through division interacts with another magnet and creates its position through the line of what I call lineage, you find out you're connected. Even in division. And this is how, if you look at it in a different angle, in a dynamic point, two protons, two electrons, better do it different way that you understand it. How do these connect with each other and with others? There's a question mark in the world of plasma physics and in atomic nuclear physics. This question has been put many times over years to a number of nuclear physicists and theoretical physicists. Maybe if you understand this, you should be able to answer it.
We connected to the. Sorry,
excuse me. Through the work of the plasma, work of the atomic structure, if you have a number of protons, and at the same time you have a number of electrons in different orbits, two points which, because of the lack of the knowledge, we haven't managed to answer. And this, again, is another question which I put years ago to the nuclear physicist. Is the speed and the weight of the electron furthest to the nucleus is the same as the speed and the weight of electron nearest in the first ring. And the first thing the scientists tell you is, we don't know. We haven't gone that advanced. And the question is there a speed and the weight or the volume bigger or the same? Well, we call them electrons and we accept it as electron. But one thing which is not answered in the world of nuclear technology and never been put in to be understood, because when you don't understand, you ignore it, nobody knows that you don't understand and you haven't understood. But now we understand. If you look at the solar system and consider this as one solar, we have bigger planetary system in a far end with a massively different speed than those closer. So when you put this to a nuclear physicist and to the physicist, they say, we don't know. But when you look at it in the macro and the micro, should be the same. The electrons at the outer boundary have a bigger volume, have a different energy, the same as Saturn does. The one closer have a different dimension too. It cannot be any different. And if you understand this, by interaction and choosing the right neutrons, you can create the right energy interference to create the right fields as you want from it, without ever touching the center. Because the center moves on its own, it has its own interaction. These are freer on their own, they can create interaction. And when you understand this, a new world of plasma technology and science opens up. I gently touched on this deliberately a few weeks ago when I explained when I was a young boy sitting under the X-ray machine and seeing if it goes through, that it goes through me, and what it does, what I hold, what I give. The translation of the plasma technology is this. By controlling the center, you decide the field, the interaction of the bodies outside. And then it creates different conditions. We have not understood. Our science is not that deep enough. We haven't evolved to understand astronomy and cosmology and the rest of it, but for sure, we see a lot of time they say, such and such a planets have aligned. Or this planet comes to be in that position in certain point. What we haven't measured is what is the field radiation from this interaction or this interaction. Because this field radiation has direct effect to the operation of the plasma center control. This is exactly like your soul inside the enhancement center and the reactors within it. These are the teachings for the people who become a space technology space center, and they can decide, and they will decide how. Because the interaction of this will create a field strength of the Jupiter, where this will create the strength of the Moon. And the soul of the man, with his emotion in the center, dictates, I want to go to the moon. I explained to you before, last couple of weeks, we enter a new cycle of knowledge sharing into the space technology. And last week and this week is the beginning of understanding both at the same time. And it becomes much clearer. You don't wait for the 26th of June to fly. You understand you have already flown and the systems are there and how it's been done. And now we can bring the two together and you understand the full understanding of the plasma technology. And then when you lost this fear, when you understood it, then you understand how to handle your soul, how to handle the interaction of your soul with others. Any other question?
Yes, I'll go one more.
Yes.
From whatever you just said just now, and what you said also this morning and yesterday, from my understanding, the field interaction, it's what make the heart beat. And what controlling the center you just draw now, does it mean we can controlling the center by controlling the heartbeat? I say all this because
you're not wrong. It's the first time you made sense in your talking.
I wrote it down. I wrote it down before to talk. I wrote it down. It's the first time I wrote it down.
This is how you can do. But you have to understand what you give to create that heartbeat and what to take to create that heartbeat.
Yes,
and once you've done it, you have to understand what's the next steps of it.
Yes, because I remember very well when I was in the Moja, there was the killing of the ducks. Do you remember? Mm-hmm. And for me, it was very traumatic that time, because I never heard a scream of someone died, never. No, so for me, it was very traumatic. I think that it what create the kind of the condition, because then when you ask us to fly, and we went into star formation, obviously before you told us to not to think. When you think is not it, and this I think connect with what you just said, that we have to tap to the fields that are away, because they are easier to regulate. So not thinking means I'm feeling, no? And then you say to us to recreate the feelings of unconditional love, no? To me, to be able to recreate the feelings of unconditional love, the first things come up in mind was the suffering of this duck that was unnecessary. So I thought this not necessary, especially after listen your class where you said that we don't need to eat. No, so one thing is if we need to eat, okay, we need to kill to feed ourselves. But once I know that we don't need to kill to feed ourselves, I thought that was absolutely unnecessary, and I really wanted, with the bottom of my heart, to finish that. For this unnecessary. It's not necessary, and I remember from there, really try to recall. It was not like I thought like this, because otherwise it would not happen. But then suddenly this unconditional, feelings for the end of because I wished for the end of the suffering, and I wanted this to end, and I wanted to a new beginning. So and there was that was really strong in me, because I never heard someone screaming and dying. So I was really in that state, and I remember the first things changed for me was the heartbeat. The heartbeat was the first things that I remember. It started to change, and then obviously as I felt this force coming underneath me. So that reminded me when you drawing the the plasma fields, you know, from North and South Pole. And then I felt the lift, exactly you said, the change of weight. I remember suddenly feeling very, 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 very light, like my hands start to lift up, like you explain now with the machines, with the enhancement unit. I really felt this change of weight where suddenly I start to lift and then become heavier again, and this fluctuation of weight, because I remember my hands become so light, they were floating, my legs were floating, and I start to lift from the table. No, obviously, suddenly I start to rotate, and I remember you the next, and get scared, and you told me the next day that the rotation was only because of fear, and I tilt, and the force, instead to go out from the top, it went sideways. This is what you told me. And I did felt feelings like something bigger. Something bigger were, I don't know if it's right to say taking over, but I see this increase of something, and I see, and I felt this. But you said yesterday it's not correct to say the expansion of the soul. It felt like rising. It's like what you said yesterday. Yesterday again, you said the heartbeat is done because the magnetic field and the gravitational field, one field take over the other. When it become too much, then become saturated and enough to give. I can't repeat it, but that's what I felt. I felt this growing of something. It felt like that. Yeah. Unfortunately, I remember me consciously to then stop everything because, but obviously it was something bigger. I felt like suddenly a car switched on. Yeah, I mean, I know I already talked a lot, and I forgot what I wanted to. Yeah, so you said now that you agree with what I said. About the beat? Yeah, I lost myself, Mr. Cash.
Thank you very much. I think we answered you. Any other question? Rick? Have we lost you?
Nope, I just had to find all the buttons here. I can remind you, Mr. Kesh, I do have some magnets set up here as kind of similar to what you have on the whiteboard here, actually. Do you want me to show that? And
yes, please.
Okay, let's see if I can get that working here.
Oh, you have that remote camera.
Yeah, Mr. Cash, one more thing, please. One more thing. Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
One more.
Yeah.
So the enhancement unit, the way I seen it, it's to take off the fear. Could you say that? Because
what? What?
The flying system are helping the human being to take off that fear of letting go.
It's your fear, not people. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Rick, open up your thing. You have to take my.
I don't think we've been recording here. Okay, so I'm trying to get this to be full screen, but I'm having a hard time here, so just a minute.
Yep.
Let's see, how can we do it? I guess I have to do it this way. I'm going to stop your share screen first of all. And then maybe I can get this up here. There we go. Okay. speaker. Okay. All right, you should be able to see that there. No, I guess you can't. Just a minute here. I have to stop the share. Ah, that's what did it. Now I can. Okay, can you see my screen there now? The live TV screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. So these are all little magnets, neodymium magnets here. And I'm not sure exactly what you want me to demonstrate, Mr. Kesh, but I can put my finger on this bigger magnet, and as I move it through, you can see the other magnets will reposition themselves, and they can actually influence each other quite extensively. So we find a repositioning through the progress of one magnet through the field of magnets definitely influences them, and you can see the reaction here. The other little magnets find their position. So is there anything particular you wanted to demonstrate with this, or?
You see, if you bring the three bigger magnets to the center, reposition all the magnets together, and bring the bigger magnet together. Yes.
So they're actually touching, you mean? I can flip one over.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Just bring them together, all three, and then you see how not to be attached to each other, but separated.
Oh, okay. And I'll have to back over here.
You have to put them separated, but close to each other. Bring them that, yeah.
That's as close as they can get. It's right
Okay,
there.
keep it that way, no problem. Now try to bring the smaller magnet closer, near to them. Very, very gentle. Just don't let them change position. You had the wrong position in that. Yeah, to where you still keep. All the way around. What you will see is now you have that two magnets stuck together. If you take those two out, the one which they jumped on each other near your table to your side, and put this one outside and bring it forward to see what effects will have on the others. Just bring it as a tool. Just bring and see where you see the first interaction at 3. Just bring it in and see where the interaction comes with the others. To the center, bring it close to the center. Same. You see how closer you can go with 3. You can see the boundary changes. Just go a little bit. You've seen the limitation before, and the more you add, the closer you get to the magnet center. You're trying to go to the hollow center, not to the magnet itself. And this in a way, in the plasma physics and the astronomy, shows how, as we convert gases and others to matter state, we become closer to the center without getting affected, or affecting us. And this will bring a lot of changes in understanding of the process. And you see the positioning. The totality of the plasma physics is to understand fields interaction, and not as in magnets in matter state interaction. And take that single one from the middle out and make 2 of them or 3 of them and bring them back in again. Just go out the same way as came. Let them attract to the 2, 3 and come the same path. Make 3 of them. And follow the same path. No, go in. Just try to go in. Now try to bring another object in. You won't even, you're locked in. Just push in another one. You see, if you look at it in another way, maybe we can see it. The one with the 3 is like a deuterium. It's got one of each, is more stable. And if you understand this and go back to the past teachings, you should be able to understand the division of the magnetic fields. If you collect, let's say 5 or 6 of them in the far distance, and you will see how they interact with the center without any other magnet, how they affect it, how they collect to each other. This shows us in a very peculiar way, because you have to look at this 3-dimensional, not a flat two-face. Because when you hang these magnets, the behavior is very much different than on a flat board. And then you see how they interact and how they respond, and how you can use these responses to your advantage in what you want to achieve. You have a field boundary of the center, and this field boundary keeps a very much constant position in respect to the entities within it. And in plasma physics, we consider this as part of the structure. Just go towards a ring magnet with your little magnet. You see, very small entity can move the bigger entity, can move the whole structure. If you push it, everything else moves out of the tree to accommodate this field force. And if you know how to use it, watch the reaction. go close again, go close, and let it go. You see how far it goes. We've shown this before. It's part of the what we call propulsion of with plasma. If you put it on its own, it goes different. It's if you can do it in the right way, you can create a condition of transportation and transmutation. But we'll teach this in the time to come. Thank you very much, Rick. We understood that if we want to tap into vast energies, which is already accumulated, we go to the outer rings of a nuclear, what we call atomic structure. And the same with nucleus. And if you want to convert more into the matter state, you come towards the inertial boundary field forces of the sun, for example, and you create more matters. And with it, you create diversion of the gravity. Even in the, as we said, in the planetary system, the interaction of the fields of the gravity and magnetic field of the Earth and the sun and the upper atmosphere in a free dimension creates the plasma of whatever. When this moves to the inertial fields, it converts to the matter state. And we have the same thing in the planetary system, even in solar systems and in galaxies, we see the same. And then we see the density. We enter solar inertia, which converts the gaseous planets into the matter state planets. The same as we see with others. You see here with the Tesla increasing from 11, I think it was 11.1. Now we're at 1186. Some hours later, the clock is next to it. So we're gaining plasma, we're gaining field strength. This is the understanding that everything is the same in the process of creation. On Earth, the inertia converts the plasma into a matter of whatever we need, hydrogen, oxygen, whatever, gases of it, or in a mixture of it as a water. And in the solar system, it's the same. We start with the interaction of the fields of the solar system within a galaxy. We get these big planetary system as a gaseous planet. And as they enter the inertial field forces of the sun in its solar system, they convert the materials or the gases or whatever into the matter state strength of the fields of their heartbeat in the center. And they become solid, and then they strip off their gases, and then they become just rolling ball waiting to roll in as the internal system loses its strength or field strength to the center. There is no difference in the world of creation. It's the same when you reach the boundaries of the plasmatic fields and how you can change that to the matter state. Even in the dimension of the soul, how you convert the soul into the physical condition, soul of physicality. But this time you do it, you exchanging the boundary of the soul with its environment, where you dictate the inertial field forces for the manifestation of the physicality. The sun and its the structure of solar system has a fixed, what we call boundary system of the inertia, and we cannot change it. We don't have the knowledge to be able to do this. But in the and the interaction of the sun and the earth and the upper atmospheres will create the plasmos packages, and the inertia of the earth converts it to the water, convert it to gold, or whatever you like. It's the same with the solar system. The sun has and creates its own inertia system, where in the boundaries, the big planet have the gaseous inertia. As they enter a certain zone, they enter matter state and a gaseous state mixture inertia, where we see like Earth, we have atmospheric and we have the inertia of the matter state. And as you pass this line, you lose your gaseous state totally, and we see what we call matter state inertia, planetary system, with no gaseous inertia strength. It's the same, no difference. We see the same thing in the galaxies, that we see the galaxies on the boundaries behave like gaseous. The solar systems and the solar structures and the boundary, they're like gaseous. As they come to the center of the galaxy, we see the same operation. And there is a certain bound, depending on the gases and inertia, that we can create conditions like life. In the strength of it, we can even have a strength of the inertia in the other position for life. But it's all the same. And if you look at it, there's no difference. You have the soul of the man, and then you create the physicality of the man around it, and how you shape your fingers and your toes, and how you have more or less no bone structure when you come to the brain, where it's a direct interaction of the fields of the matter-gans state. Where here, to keep upright, you have brought in matter state of the bone. Even your intestines, all the material inside, liver and everything else is developed this way, positioning in respect to. And this conversion inertia exists in all our bodies the same. In your kidneys, you do the same. The structure of the kidney is the same. It brings in liquid matter with the different things, but through the structure of the kidney, you have different, what you call filtering, that you allow these materials to be extracted. Because you create that gravitational magnetic field from energy or whatever into the matter state to be discharged, when it manifests itself to the contact with the physical condition of the body of the man in the atmospheric condition. These are part of what we see in one of the teachings very recently. I explained, if you look at the intestine and the bigger intestine, when it comes out, we call it colon, we have the same situation. In the intestine, we dilute the material to make it into the nanomaterial and ganses through the alkalineness of the stomach. Not more than, what you call it, the acidity of it is for creation of current. But the alkalineness in the stomach creates the ganses. And then these ganses start floating in your intestine. And at this point, they give energy. But these energies go to the body, gets used. And then when it comes to the colon, these energies, which are not needed through the lymph system, become back again matter state. And you discharge it. We go from matter into the gans, we share the energy, and when it's not needed, we come back in energy, and then that energy with its point of reference is rejected as a matter, plus what it came in as matter conversion of the ganses. So the knowledge is very much understood. Depends how and what you decided to manifest at this point in the stomach. And if your intensity of the salt or what we call acidity is not there, that you cannot break up the material which comes into a gas, the body has no use for it, it rejects it as the way you had it. Because you didn't manage to convert it. So it comes out the same. Means your stomach acidity is not strong enough, or your salt, what we call salinity, is not enough or correct combination to create the gases of that material. You eat a pea, you reject the pea. Now, go and find out what salinity is needed in the stomach to be able to break up the pea. To the gas. Surely is not the acidity. When you had a plate, you put acid on it, you dissolve it, became another matter. It only becomes energy when there's a salt content into it. And if the acidity cannot break it up, that the body, the salt composition can create it, you cannot digest, you cannot convert it into energy. And then the body knows how to reject or convert back the energy to matter state. When you look at the material in colon, maybe 60% is coming from the waste food. 40% comes from the lymph conversion. Around that figure. If you measure the exact amount of what material comes here and what material comes here when it goes to the colon, and just before it, you'll see there's a big difference. Lymph delivers what doesn't need, converts into material, gets rejected. And our knowledge is not so deep enough to understand that we'll find materials in here that we never took up in here. But we ignore it because we have knowledge. These materials come from that energy which we absorb 80% from the space. In conversion into the lymph and giving energy, body has no with it, but they already became gases in matter state and the body has to reject it. These are what we have to understand a lot. And when you travel in a space and you don't output anything in here and you just continuously convert into the energy level, then you don't have a point of reference of inertia to convert the material. So, is there a need for this? Any other question?
Yes, we have 3 hands up here. Some of the usual characters, Marinez, Ed, and Azar. Go ahead, Marinez, you're first.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, we can hear you.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Mr. Cash and everybody else. Happy Chinese New Year for Chinese people. Mr. Cash, I've already said about that, with your permission. I had an experience. I'm not very much interested in general in lifting and mechanical things, even though I have done all the exercises you said, the cups, I've done them, I experienced them. I needed the part which has to do with helping humanity, which is my passion. So I did an experience once. I told you, I don't know if you understood. I said very rapidly that in one of your teachings, I was sitting this time on the floor, like in a yoga thing, on a cushion, and you told us that you have the free microphone and you can say whatever you like in this session and your message. And I wanted absolutely to give a message for peace. I was very much concentrated. And then I made a star formation. I connected from distance to two people, which are kind of special. And with me, it's a triangle. And I had the knowledge that there is spirits over my head, for one spirit. So I made triangle with us three from distance and this spirit over us. And I was still very much concentrated in what you were saying and what I would say. And then at some time, I felt like I am observing my legs, but it was from a distance because my legs seemed smaller, like I observe it. I don't know what distance I was, but I was upset. And I was sure I am in this space. That gave me confidence. The only thing was that over my head, there was no roof. It was just a space, limited space, gray, like fog. Just color was gray. And I think I said it, but well, without any fussing, because lifting is not my priority. The only question, and I'm able to do it again because I know how I did it. So I can explain it to everybody. But the thing is, when I'm there and this space, not infinite space, but it's a space which is just gray, light gray. Where is it? Over my head was a gray space. Not the sky, but space. I couldn't see the sky. I think my eye and my head was in this place. My legs were down, something like that. Because my legs seemed smaller. And all of a sudden I thought I have the same legs when I was a child in the picture. So what is that space, gray space that I see in that moment? Where is it?
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Okay. Okay, so hello? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I hear you well.
So, Marinez, you want Mr. Kesh to explain to you your experience of what you saw? I don't understand your question.
Yeah, I want to say, where is that gray space? I was there because my legs were down.
You were there. How can Mr. Kesh explain what it is if it's your experience of something?
Okay, I just thought Mr. Kesh knows what kind of thing it must be. This gray, this gray sky or a space over me. And did I do a lifting? It was an action of lifting. By my
I don't know.
soul.
I'm not there. A lot of people can do this. You can create fields, and this is part of it. You might feel a lift. You might depends. It's the same as the reactors we built. We create a condition, and we'll see the position, and we go to the next step.
Yeah, exactly like that. It was not important or feeling. It just I created the condition, uh, but it was so strong in my feeling that
Yeah.
or love and intention that I did that. Another question is, in fact, I have seen this sky, I mean, this space. Once when I was very, very sick, nobody knew I was in New York, a new student. Nobody knows I'm in this room. I had moved. And I was very sick. And I think I had kind of out of this world, but not, and I thought I'd better be back because my grandfather didn't like it if I die. So I came back. It was again a gray sky, gray space I was in. That's why I wanted to know what it is, this gray space. So
I can't
the
tell you, I
same.
haven't been there. I don't see what you see.
Okay.
This
I
is
have
what
another
we
question.
say. What is what we say? It depends on one's experience, how you understand it, and how you can use it.
Exactly.
We have a
That's why I
knowledge.
want to know.
We have a knowledge seeker. He's listening. I'm sure he's listening, or he'll listen to this program later on. We have a knowledge seeker who I think Azar can tell you too, that he can lift himself off the bed to the ceiling. Oh, that's what he does. And I think Azar is, we don't want to mention any name, but he claims this, he does it continuously, regularly.
Yeah, I don't want to do it. I didn't mean
no,
to do it either.
it's one of our well-known knowledge seekers. And he says he lifts from the bed, when he goes to bed to sleep or whatever. And how can you do this? What is the passion about it? How can you be in a bed and not in the bed?
It's not my passion, really. It just happened.
But it depends what you can do and how you accept it and how you can utilize it or to enjoy it, not to benefit by it necessarily.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it especially. It was later on I tried to analyze, and I thought if I knew what that space was, maybe I could try to do it again. And that's why I asked you if I
It's
have
not
been.
the space, it's the state of the energies you use to create that condition, which might give you that space or visualization of that space.
No, it was not visualization. It just happened. I was
Emotion.
there.
Yeah.
I was there.
I was explaining this regarding the new generation of the children which we have through what we call the birth through soul. These children have the knowledge, capability, ability to do things that human beings as a physical condition cannot do. And it takes parents to learn it. I was explaining this, that in the near future, we put teachings for parents who have become and created children through the interaction of the souls than the physicality, where the physicality follows. The children look like us, they're part of us. But the knowledge is beyond us. And one of the games they'll play with us is what we call going invisible. You play hide and seek by physically hiding behind a chair or somewhere playing with the children. The new generation of the cycle of man, or in the universal level, they don't play hide and seek by moving. They can create fields which passes that boundary, they become part of the field of the environment, but they're still in the same place. I wrote this in one of the patterns. Read it. Now we can explain it in a dimension of the physicality. You can go invisible at a point of manifestation, or you can stay invisible till where you want to manifest yourself. I was explaining this to some parents, that the new generation of the man created through the soul, we have to ask them to explain to us how you do it. Our children become our teacher, because otherwise it will be a mayhem. This is not a theory anymore. This is the reality which is with us. We have to learn it. We will learn a lot of things from our new generation of children of man. If you want to do something, oh, I'll give him a switch and I get the things from him, he's already is inside, he's seeing the emotion of the soul. Oh, no. I put my hand before you move in my pocket, I keep the pen, you can't take it. Anyway, this is what we learn. We learn to communicate. But the thing is, we have to teach them as much more about the behavior of the man than they teach us about the behavior of the interaction of the soul. These are realities. These are not something which will be in 10 centuries or next 1,000 years, or when somebody comes to be the end of the world. The children which we create through the soul, especially now using the enhancement units and the others, will give us that opportunity to see more and more of working of the soul. I shall not lie, because you cannot lie. You can't say, I'm going to get it up if I give you something else, tell him something else, because he has already seen the reaction of your soul, Mama. Then you think to your soul, to your emotion, I'd love to have that pen of you because it can endanger you and it can cut yourself. And it just gets handed over. And you say, how did he know? We have entered a new phase of creation. This is part of the manifestation of Mehdi, understanding to create a generation that does nothing wrong. So we have to create a generation which is created out of perfection through the soul. But they still have the terms of the physicality to live too. They still will cry. They still will run. They still fall. They still break their arms. But that is what they learned in the position of their life, what it will be in a physical dimension. What would we see if we're playing a game with our child and he falls down and breaks his leg, and now we run to the hospital, but he has preset structure of the perfection. Before he gets to the hospital, there was no breakage. Did you make a mistake? Didn't we grow the toe that way? Didn't we grow the brain that way? Now is the understanding of the new technology, understanding of the new sciences of the technology, understanding the perfection in the dimension of the Creator. And that was the gift of the birth of Mitra.
Yeah.
And this is what we got to learn, the new cycle, the new understanding. We go in the enhancement units with 20 tumors. We come out with 40 tumors. But I went in there to get rid of it. How come increase? Because in your emotion, you still want to die, but you speed it up this time. Doesn't matter you paid $1 million to go into the machine to get rid of the tumor, but inside I want to die. I want to be with my wife, my lover, whatever. But I want to show physically I'm doing something about it. Because your emotion is to die. And system satisfies the emotion. Would you go in the system with the emotion that I want to elevate my soul, not to die, but to enjoy the presence of the soul of my child, my lover? And then, if that's the true intention, you'll find a solution. Your body will fix itself. This is one of the biggest problems, not only for mankind. The people of the universe have the same kind of emotion problems. It's not the exclusivity of man emotion. We have created a universal enhancement system. It's universal. It's for the citizens of the universe, not the exclusivity of man. So the knowledge in these systems is for a universal community, which are thousands of years technically ahead of man and thousands of years behind technically from man. But now they all have the same. This is the beauty of sharing, giving, and how the knowledge will be shared. I hope in the coming weeks, by opening up the Spaceship Institute, we bring many of you into the Institute to be part of, to research, to bring a new dimension into elevation of the soul of the man to understand himself, than making a MAGRAV and 2 flying machines and a jackpot. In the next few weeks, we'll make this announcement and see how many of you will wish to be a student, how many of you decide to go and bring that change and make it public, do it in public. Because then the knowledge is shared. Keshe Foundation is on the verge of bringing these things out. There's so much effort is going in the background with many knowledge seekers in many parts of the world to make this accommodation. Keshe Foundation, as us, has to teach us what us have missed from the knowledge of the Creator, not one of us. Educating totality is the responsibility of the total knowledge, because then, as we're taking man not to be below than others, is the responsibility of knowledge seekers to make sure no man is below another. In knowledge, in the level of life, and in the comfort of existence. We are about there. When we declare we become as what has been promised, we'll bring everything together, not in bits. And everything is here for that change, and the process has started.
Thank you for your encouragement, because
I don't encourage you. I don't encourage you. I show you the truth. You have to understand and understand what you are doing.
You have, it's knowledge. I mean, it's not something miraculous or something.
It's just knowledge. It's just knowledge. It's just pure knowledge.
Or love or something like that, probably passion.
Knowledge is love. If you share knowledge, you're already in love. Because you share your love. You don't keep it to yourself.
Thank you. Another question. Pardon, if you finished.
Yep.
Excuse me. Thank you very much. It changes my looking things differently about what is possible to do. Other thing is, I have created 5, 6, depending, 4 a soft formation, like with one 4th corner, but with different triangles. 5 triangle, and with me, and then I could get the soul of the group from distance. I could get into the soul of something related to the group. Is it possible to make 5, 6, depending, or 4 triangles with different people, distance, and then get the knowledge, what the thing of that group?
We did, you saw the picture there, which Rick was showing. Rick, if you go back to the picture of the Tesla unit that we're showing there, what you call in the Sensano, you see in front of you an orange frame. Just where the meter is behind the meter reading, if you share it, you will see it. On this machine, there is a specific platform. It's one of the first dynamic reactors sets star formation, which was made from copper by Armin. After we finish testing the 129 Tesla, we dismantled the structure for another test. We took this one into a separate room in the building. And it was positioned in one corner of the room. And more or less, we tried not to get anybody to go in to disturb it. And we ran this one. Rick, if you have that picture, you can put it up. You see the wooden structure. And we monitored it, even clockwise. We put dust on the floor to see how it moves. And it was how much it makes this distance from the ground up and down. And yes, this is the unit. And am I right? No, this is another one, the wooden one. This is another one. No. On this frame, there is another star formation, if I'm correct. Yes, this is the beginning of the same. Yep. This was changed to a different structure of it. This is the Sensano where we did a test of the 129. And this here is on the corner, you see it. This unit in Christmas of 2014 was positioned in this room, and there was another star formation in Germany, a star formation in Canada. And collectively, we decided to stop one of the engines. And we stopped that engine where it was decided by two people. You have to understand these maglev systems were running for quite some time. They were running for weeks. In that instance, we're doing a combination with Dr. Ilya Kostova. And me online, we decided that we stop reactor number 2 on the right-hand side, I think, of the system in the Sensano. And within seconds, the reactor came to a halt. It's videoed somewhere. We have the video of it. And we restarted it. And again, on the line, Dr. Kostova was in Bulgaria at that time, if I'm correct. We decided that instead of choosing another reactor, the same. I asked her to follow. You decide, we follow, we bring it. For the second time, we stopped the reactor again, the same reactor number 2. And we showed through intention, through the work, we can connect. We can create that condition. The same is, if the intention is there, you work in the dimension of the plasma of the gases, because these reactors were filled up with gases, you can interact and create that condition. So you can interact with anyone if you set to do it and do it the right way. And in a way, we showed the expansion of the emotion of the man to the dimension of physicality. Yes, you can. It's been shown. We all have the ability. It's not exclusivity. It's just to understand it. And The new generation of the children of man have that ability. You cross the road and suddenly a car is coming and a person running, they will have the capability to stop the person or the car.
Water is very.
They have the ability to inform the emotion of the soul to retract the body of the man. It will be amazing when the population of the man understand this process, how much there'll be no need for a lot of things. And yes, you can. You can tune, you don't need 3 people, 10 reactors, 20 groups. You can, but you have to understand the limitation of. You cannot steal, you cannot interfere. You cannot play with people.
Oh, no, absolutely. It's not that. No.
No,
Just
no.
to
It's
close
the only thing. No, the only thing which can happen is for you to give to elevate their knowledge, their soul, or if you're lacking and they give for everyone to have it, then you receive part of that knowledge.
Yeah, it's for giving, for
Yeah, but as long as it's done, we have to understand you're not dealing with what I call the voodoo and black magic. We are dealing with the science of interaction of the fields. And in this understanding, we have to understand all possible parameters of it. And it's very simple. If you understand it, what Rick was showing in the magnets, if you create a condition of set of magnets in the right way, you can create potassium. If you create a potassium field, it's in a plasmatic condition. And if you put it near the body of the man, if it's short of the calcium will take from it. But you have to create a condition of the plasma through nanotechnology to be able to have elements free to do so. This is why when we made the cups and the Belgians accuse us of it's nothing but a bunch of magnets, when you don't understand the principle of the plasma interaction of the fields, man carries a matter-stating plasmatic field, calcium in the body, then of course everything is nothing. This is one of the things we understand. Now you have the possibility to work with gases to create condition of fields. But in the new technology, we have changed that into the soul of the man. Now your soul can play the game, can be part of, but you cannot steal from.
No.
And you cannot say, I give to you to have. I don't want it. I have a battle with the knowledge seeker in a very silent way. I want to die. But on the surface, I want to live. Sure, I'm doing everything to live. But have not understood that there's another way to it. I want to be with the soul of. Allow me to be with the soul of. Then I don't need to kill myself to be. Maybe the soul comes to understand and be part of. And this is what we see. This is what comes off. This is what sits in the background of the knowledge. Working through emotion. When you work through emotion, you decide what fields you release, and you decide what fields you want to accept. Is the prejudices which we have created for ourselves, which damage us and they hold us from learning. I said this to a couple of knowledge seekers very recently. Parents who elevate their souls to create the children of the man through dimension of the soul, watch it. You're going to have a fun time because you will learn from them. You learn new way of communication. You learn a new way of playing games. You learn a new way of interacting. You learn a new way of looking at life. And it takes time to change. You have to find another child which has been born through the soul of the man, and then let them see how they play. Would they laugh? And you wonder, they don't talk, there's something wrong with them, they are going mental. They don't need to. They already exchanged a joke in the dimension of the soul. You see both of them without saying anything running to the same toy. And one waits for the other one to enjoy and then takes. You won't see crying, I want it too. Because letting the other one enjoy is more important. We created a new cycle of life on this planet. And it had to be done through the soul of the man. And we had to create a new, what we call generation, to get rid of the old generation in time that it changes, and maybe the others back. And interacting through this kind of things, but understanding it is important.
Mr. Cash, these kind of things have been in esoteric science of Tibetans and Buddhist, things like that. It's not, there has been such things before.
Yes, but we never understood the science behind it. Now we understand. We can explain the science of it. We can create scientifically a system that gives us that. We can create emotion that anybody goes into a machine will cry. Through the plasmatic field, we can make system that anybody goes in, come a happy guy out. You understand?
Yeah.
But it's a science. It's not one man could do. You know, you go to someone and says, oh, he puts his hand on the foot of someone and they walk.
Yeah.
Take that hand. What your hand do? Because his field is at that strength. In 1991, a partner of mine has a famous, he was well known, they were saying, when he puts his hand on somebody's pain, he helps and he gets better. And I had a broken ankle and I walked into the office and says, come on, Mehra, sit down. I help to get rid of your pain. Our secretaries and friends says, it works. It also, we had a pain. He put his hand on my knee and I had more pain than I ever knew. I said, you came here to help me because I wasn't prepared to accept. Or was the intention to help them? Now we understand. We have technologies we can do. We have understandings we can do. Now it doesn't need somebody from Tibet, a man from Africa or Brazil or England can do the same. Because it's technical, we understand it, we can replicate it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. That needs reflection. Thank you for encouraging, because I thought I'd go crazy if I tell that to people. But sometimes we keep ourselves to do things if the person doesn't understand, so they have bad judgment of come to the real life.
Haven't I changed it? For years, I just sit and wait till they understand. 7 billion of them learn from me. So sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Question, just one question about this story of soul to soul making child, soul of a child. So there should be a limit of age for women.
No.
Yes. Because the physical part takes the soul of the body to make it.
No.
That's good.
No. You still stand a chance. Maybe a hope.
Thank you very much, sir.
It is to understand children made by the soul of the man do not rely on the presence of parents in life because they know the soul of the parents are with them. In the dimension of fear of dying. And this is important.
Do they grow? Where does it grow?
It still grows. It'll be an interesting time coming
Okay.
Interesting time coming. A lot of people need to learn gradually, and we go ahead. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kesh. We have a couple of hands up here still, Azar and Ed. Azar, could you go first, please?
Good morning, Mr. Cash. Good morning, everyone. Mr. Cash, I have a question regarding the magnet lake presented. If you look at, if you take every single human as a magnet, 7 billion of us, so each of us moving in certain way, certain direction, and we're changing each other's position. So when we look at the leaders and scientists on this planet, especially the leaders right now, so they have a field, but there's also, say, maybe 100,000 of them, and there are 7 billion of us. And then now they have a universal council. They have a universal council that is connected to the soul of each language. So this, even one universal council has so much power, because when you move, you change your position, the position of the leaders for sure can change for better. It's just understanding and then moving in a way that you can move them to the way you wanted to move them. And it's, am I correct in what my process?
What do you mean? Can you?
You see, when you move one of the magnet, the other one moves, yes? Think about the three magnets in the middle, the leaders, yes?
Yeah, but you see, this is the problem with observing it this way. Observe which other magnets do they move. Observe what was, you see, this is the physicality of a man looking for things. If you look at one magnet moving and the other magnets move or don't move, look at why didn't the other magnets move?
Because the other magnet doesn't move because you see, if I come, how can I say it?
No.
If you're standing in a room, yes, and you're standing in a room and in an empty room, yeah, and you're very happy. You're standing in the center of the room and you're just very joyful, yes, and that's an environment. Suddenly I come in and say I'm being angry or certain things, so I bring a field with myself that I come to your field. So your kind of field is going to change for sure.
Yes, because it's an emotion, it's an interaction of the plasmatic field. Why a mother, when picks a child up which is crying herself, she cries as well with the child. Does she feel the pain of the child, or is it what kind of mother I was that I couldn't protect my child to not to get hurt? How many times as parents we've been there? We blame ourselves for the condition our children gone through, but what's the other way to look at it? Wasn't there a cycle for them to learn something and us to learn about ourselves in that emotion?
Okay, so if we're saying that, so it means 7 billion of us, and we have a universal council. So in the process of it, we also have our positioning of what we're learning on this planet individually.
Of course.
In collection with the rest of the soul I'm connected with, which they are learning individually what they're supposed to learn. So that universal council is actually connected to all the say 85, Iran has 85 million population. I'm connected to 85 million people who are having their own way of living.
Plus the dog who understands Farsi, plus the cat, plus the bird and everything else. This is not the exclusivity of man.
Okay. So
and then I'll put you another facts. It's really a fact. What about the soul of the birds which immigrate from one continent to another? Which of you knowledge seekers, what I call Universal Council members, are responsible for that? They travel from the Russian-speaking into the French-speaking somewhere in the Middle East. What happened to them? Which language do the creatures of the universe speak that you are responsible for, but it could be the same as French?
Yeah, so Mr. Cash, that's why, see, when things happen in a way, like, of course you have an intention, but things happen in a way, although it can be bad, but you have to let it happen because it has to go to its course. When it goes to its course, it's completed. So you're free of it because each thing has to find its way and it's finished. So this is actually is beautiful. Actually, I think they actually now I understand.
Of course, it's beautiful.
I think now I understand how your behavior. I understand your behavior now.
What do you mean?
I mean, I understand your behavior toward things comes your way, like the problem comes your way. The way you react, the way you handle it, is you allow it to finish its course. You don't stop it.
Yeah.
So you, for example, if I want to do something bad, you let me finish it because you know I'm done with it. So you make me free from my agenda, which was my intention, but I'm good now because I've become somebody else that finished that process, that learning from that experience, and you allow people to do that. Because when you allow people to do what they came to do, you allow them to experience it, get wisdom, and go to the next level. So
it's you. This is what I keep on saying. We have a lot of people tell me, why don't you do this when you can? Why can't you do this? If you have the knowledge, why can't you create all the gold in the world that you don't need to ask for knowledge seekers, blah, 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 blah. And what I say is very simple. We are here to experience. Once we experience it, we understand it. And this is the whole purpose of here. Oh, why can't you stop yourself breaking your arm or falling or whatever? That fall, that breaking arm, it brings experience in the physical dimension. We need to understand how to solve something. We have to feel it. It is, I heard this so many times. And I heard this so many times, people telling me, why don't you stop this or do something else or whatever? And do you have to experience it? Yes. Because it's like a point of maturity.
Mr. Cash, the same thing with last year thing was happened. You already knew it for many years, but you didn't act on it because you let it go to the time that is completed.
What do you mean?
I mean, the thing happened with somebody who was in Keshe Foundation, was so close to you, and
we know this. We see. We have to experience it.
So you let it happen. You let it to go through the pain, even though you went through the pain of it, but you went through it because it's just the way you see it has to happen. Because you didn't want to, because you could stop it in the middle when you knew it, but all you did was constantly was supporting of that person and giving so much love.
Because you have to. The only thing is, when it comes to a point that what you give, what you put is not what I call accepted. You can forgive a lot. You can close your eyes to a lot. But when people don't understand that we carry on with the same thing, you leave it because it means they're not ready to receive. It's like our children. We close our eye to a lot of the things they do wrong because we love them so much. And then it comes a point, says, that's it, enough is enough. This is very human interaction relationship. Loving someone does not mean you have to accept or there's a limitation to accept. We never stop loving. Doesn't matter who. There's still a level of love and care. Doesn't matter what the reason you fall out with your lover, your wife, your children, your neighbor. It's not an end. It's not the Italian roulette. You know, in Italy, you have a relationship with a neighbor for 10 years and you have given each other a lot of gifts and things, you know, have a pot, I don't need it, have my fork, I don't need it. When they break up a relationship, no more, they put all the pots and pans and forks and knives in a box and they leave it outside the door. It's finished. I don't want anything from you. It's not that way. What happened when you had that pot and you cook for it for some time, and this time you want to cook, you need that pot, says, oh shoot, I should have never given that pot back to him, did I? It happened to us in Italy. I can tell you exactly how they do it. Doesn't matter how long we had the relationship with them, what they give you, whatever, they put, when they want really finish the relationship, they put everything outside your house, and that's it. But they got rid of the physicality presentation. What have they got? The rid of the emotion of it. That's a different point. And then what you do, you keep the pots and you pray for them. You give from your soul to elevate them. One day they knock on the door. Can I have that pot, please? So you can have the whole box because all the memories are in it. It's not a teenage love affair where you got a teddy bear and you gave it teddy bears, and when you wake up, you open the door at high speed on the motorway and throw the teddy bear over out. That is finished. What about every time we drive down the road and you remember that teddy bear going out of the window? How many of us have done these things? Doesn't matter with who or what in our lives. Is we learn and we're progressively learning to give, to be there. It's not you accept, is a point that you cannot accept anymore because it's not learned. Taken for a fool for a long time doesn't mean you stay a fool.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
What you refer to, we will open this book very soon in a very extensive interview. Keshe Foundation has to know exactly what has happened to the foundation, and doesn't matter, it's part of my private life. But very soon, in a live interview which is set up, we open the totality of what happened. And with the no accusation, with direct data, direct information. Very soon. Then you, as knowledge seekers, understand how you have to live my path. And what it brings you. Because if we allow it to carry on, it creates a wrong image of the structure and love and care. And we are there to protect and care and love. Doesn't matter who. And it's important for us to see what effects brings to us afterwards. What it changes in our lives and what positive is, or was it the reason for it to be that we are where we are today. And that's how it is. That level of whatever has brought us to be so knowledgeable, so extensively understand more of what it is that we shared, be it in our lives, be it in the history of our nation, be it the history of this planet. We killed and killed and killed and killed and destroyed and killed. And now we had enough. we matured. It was a little bit of short of stopping, and it needed the energy, collective energy of the whole members of this planet, truly not by building a United Nations and creating more war, but building a Universal Council and extending the love of the Creator to members of the world leaders and the rest. This is the process we learn. Now we see how they're tackling it to start the war, but none of them is prepared to fire a gun because they want to find a solution. We might see a war in Ukraine very soon, but would it be the way we think it will be? Or is it a push another political way? What we need is a member of the Russian speaking and member of the Universal Council from Russian speaking language and from Ukraine to be part of the Universal Council. If those two souls can come to an agreement, the nations and the governments in the whole structure will come to it. It's a very, very strange position to understand, but it's what it is there to understand. It's an evolution of the knowledge and maturity of the man. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. Ed, I guess you're next here.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. This is Ed from Indiana. First, I just want to thank you for all that you give to us. The way you present the knowledge to us is just such a proof to me of who you are. You always present us the next step in knowledge to expand us to consider what we've never even considered before. But yet at the same time, you can relate to us on the level of humanity. And so I just wanted to thank you for that. But my question is, this morning you talked about the transmutation of the energies of our soul into the energies of the soul of the Creator. And I was just wondering within myself, what are the limitations that hinder that, or the ways to advance that? Is it similar to what we go through now with trying to relate our soul of physicality to our soul, where we deal with attachments and emotional attachments? Or is it just an interaction with more environment as we branch out into the universe? Or is it both, or what?
I don't understand what you mean exactly.
I'm just wondering the process of the transmutation of the energies of our soul into that of the Creator. What is it that might hinder that or advance that?
Ourselves. Understanding the work of the system, understanding the truth about the creation. In the process of teaching in the past couple of years, I have given you a lot of hint, a lot of knowledge how to achieve it. But you always looked at it from the man point of view, not from reaching the soul of the Creator. You always looked at it, how can I get my soul out of my physicality? But you never looked at it, how can I go within my soul, that within it I found the Creator. It's a habit of the man. You're always greedy. You think he comes if I go out. You never looked at the fact. And there are many, many teachings I refer to. As you go to the center of the plasma, you find the strength of the creation. And nobody understands. You always look to, what can I do to get to that? Look within, you find the love and the Creator. But how clear are you to look within? With yourself and the knowledge and understanding. It's a very simple thing. I explained this before. You can go on top of a skyscraper and jump off to get down faster and destroy yourself. Or you can get on the elevator and come down and enjoy every floor of what is in it. But you know, at the end, you get to the bottom. It's understanding ourselves within, not expanding the soul to reach. The more you expand the soul, the further you get from the point. As I say, look within and you find it. And what you find is the beauty of the creation and the creator. You don't need to release the soul to find it. Within the soul of the man can reach that point. But that's level of understanding how much we can do it. And understanding the science of why we do it, the reason we do it, and what is the next level. Not going, we are not a cult, we are a scientific organization. I'm with it. If I create a denser, I create a much stronger field, I can travel further distances to different points of the universe faster. As that distance faster reaches the distance from my soul to the creator, and to bring it to 0 time that I become part of it. This is the whole purpose of these teachings. But with it, we should choose some toys to play with, maglev system, a flight system, and the rest. It says, it's an old say I always said, I came to find the creator. I found the creator within me. And that's the point. And if you reach that point, you mature to the next one.
So, in going from point to point, does our soul have attachments, or is this all in our physicality?
We are connected. We are not attached. You saw those magnets?
Yes.
Even they come together, they're not attached to each other. The matter state is connected, but the magnetic field is still flowing through them. The line of connection, it doesn't stop when the magnet attaches itself to another magnet. The field don't stop going through them. You understand?
Okay, yes, so our experience is all connected, our soul and our soul of physicality, and they each affect one another.
Yes, they operate through each other, not affecting.
Yes, okay.
Shall we call it a day, Rick? It's nearly 1 o'clock.
Okay, sure, Mr.
I have an
Cash.
appointment, but I can't remember who I have an appointment with.
Okay. Better give you a few minutes to gather yourself there.
I'll get a call, you have an appointment, or somebody calls me, you forgot about you had an appointment with us. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
I hope we learned a little bit more and we shared a little bit more. And try to stay humble. Then you understand, you achieve a lot. Thank you very much, Rick. Thank you very much for all of the Keshe Foundation team. And when you look at this craft, which is as a diagram here, remember there is one in the center in Linz, which is gaining energy from the dimension of the universe within it, and it's putting weight on. It won't get fatter, but maybe become knowledgeable. And then we'll see what we can do with it. Thank you very much.
Maybe it's getting pregnant, Mr. Cash.
It won't increase in size. We have to measure the field around it one day.
Maybe there'll be a little flight unit come out one day. Thank you, Mr. Cash.
Thank you very much. Thank you indeed. Bye.
There has to be something for the kids. All right. Thank you, everybody, for attending today's workshop. Let me get the screen up here, and I'll play a couple of the videos as we go out. This has been the 418th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 3rd, actually. It should have been changed to February 3rd, 2022. And thank you everyone for attending, and leftover questions can be advanced till next week. Sorry we didn't get to some of the questions in the Q&A here and in the live stream, but duty calls for Mr. Kesh, and that's when we have to end for today. So I'd like to play the Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit video that we were seeing before, the newer version, and then I'll play the music version of the Flight Enhancement Unit to go out with. Okay, our next public workshop is, what would be the date? Just 1 second here. Tuesday, February 8th will be the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace and Justice. And that starts at 4 p.m. Central European Time. People are invited to attend that and bring your problems that can be solved on the soul level by the Universal Council. Okay, I think that's it for today. Bye, everyone, and see you in the next public workshop.